Hello everyone, welcome back to Dolos Academy. I am Mehjal Mahmood and today I will be teaching you guys CSS media query. We use media queries to make websites that are responsive on all sorts of devices, and by responsive I mean websites that are viewable in different viewports or different devices of different screen size. Now of course I did mention some certain terms which might be confusing to you guys, so I'm just going to leave them on the top right of the screen. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section. So let's get our video started. Okay, so what I have done here is I have created an HTML file and also a CSS file, and I have linked the CSS file with the HTML file. After that, what I did was I wrote an h1 tag inside the body, and as you can see on the right side of the screen, here is the h1 tag, hello from Dolos Academy. Now if I click on the right mouse button, this thing pops up, and if I click here inspect, you can see that this tool appears. Now this is a developers tool or dev tools, as you can see. Now this dev tools is for web designers and developers to view their code or find some bugs and check the speed of their website and stuff like that. Now if I click here responsive, I can see that there are many different devices, and if I click on iPhone X, it shows me the screen or the viewport size of an iPhone X. Now an iPhone X has a width of 375 pixels and a height of 812. Now my text doesn't stretch here fully as it used to do when my screen is wider, but what if I want to keep my text in just one line for the iPhone view or for mobile responsive? I want to keep it like this and not like this. Then what should I do? I need to decrease the font size, right? But now let's just say if I decrease the font size here, then also the font size will decrease here as well. But I don't want it. I only just want the font size to decrease here so that it can fit in the screen in one whole line. Now to do stuffs like that is known as responsive designing. I know it's a bit confusing, but stick with me. I'm pretty sure you'll understand it. Now let me just edit this h1 tag in CSS. So I'm just going to write font size, let's say 30 pixels, and font weight of 700. Yeah, that's it. Maybe a color, just going to give a dark color. So as you can see, this is my font and I have made the changes here. Let me increase the font size a bit more. Let's just take it 60. So when I decrease my screen size, as you can see, my font collapses. It collapses and it goes on to the next line, but I don't want it to collapse. I just want to decrease the font size for a certain screen size. Now let's just say my default screen width is 912. Now if I go to this 267, my font or heading collapses. I don't want it to collapse. I just want to decrease the font size. Maybe I want to decrease it to 20 pixels. And now I want it to be like that in this screen size, but when I increase the screen size, I want it to be 60. Now to do that, we need media queries. And what are media queries? So when we create a website, now first of all, the screen through which we view in desktop or PCs are obviously much wider than what we view on mobile phones. For example, the width of my monitor is 1920 pixels. Now that's quite big or average, but the width of an iPhone screen is only 375 pixels. Now how do I make contents that are of 1920 pixels fit into a width of 375 pixels? Obviously I need to like shrink it or maybe reduce the size or maybe collapse it, I don't know, somehow or other, just to make it look good in iPhone or like a mobile phone, as well as also on my desktop viewport. Now how to do that? Now to do that, we need to use media queries. Now to do a media query, the first statement that I need to write is @media. After I have written that, I need to write only, and then I'm going to write screen. So that means the media only off screen. So now this statement will help me change this. How? Okay, media only screen, and then I'm just going to give brackets, max width, let's just stick with 375px, and I'm going to give curly brackets here. Now that means that if my screen size is lower or is 375 pixels, then whatever the changes I write inside here, it will take place. I know it's confusing, so let me just show it to you and it will clear all your confusions. Now if I just reduce the font size to 20 pixels, Sorry, I need to remove this comma. Sorry, that was a mistake. Okay, now as you can see, the current width is 252, which means it's lower than 375, and this is why the font size is 20. But if I increase it more than 375, the font actually gets bigger. It goes back to 60. But if I decrease it, for example, now it's 73, it's 20 pixels, but the moment it's 77, it's 60 pixels. Now this is media query. We shrink, we enlarge, and we edit objects, contents, and elements based on their screen size. So when a web designer starts coding in HTML and CSS for a website, they either start on only one screen. It's either a mobile screen or a desktop screen. So after they start on a desktop screen, let's just say, then they switch to media query and make all the changes a website needs to fit into a mobile viewport. So this is how we can use media queries to make responsive web designs. Now this was a very simple example. Now I'm just going to create a very complex example. Okay, so just let me erase all this code, and I'm just going to create a box model using flexbox. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a parent div, and inside it I'm just going to make 3 boxes. I have created 3 boxes. Now let me just edit it. So I'm just going to write dot parent display flex justify content center align items center, and I'm also going to give some height and width. So height I'm just going to give 100 viewport, which is 100 VH, and also a width of 100 viewport, which is VW. Also background color hashtag 2222, and also as you can see there's this little bit of white area. To remove that I need to use a universal selector. So I'm just going to write margin 0 padding, sorry, not pad, it's padding 0. Okay, now this is gone. So now this is my screen, right? Decrease it or increase it, it's all the same. Now let's create those boxes. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to write dot box, and I'm going to give a background color of light coral, and I also need to give an height of, like, let's just say 300 pixels, a width of 30%. Okay, now there are actually 3 boxes, but there are no margins, so it looks like there is only one box. So let me add some margins. Margin, let's say 0px, 10px. Okay, as you can see, now we have 3 boxes. But let's assume that I want to put text inside my boxes. For example, Lauren 20. Now I can see the text here. So right now the text is actually clear, but when the screen size is decreasing, okay, now the box is also out of the screen as well as the text. As you can see, this text is not very much readable. It's very difficult to read, and I don't want a person visiting my website and he would like have issues reading a text. I don't want that, of course. That's what the main target is. So let me just style the text first. Let's give a font size of 18px, font family Arial, okay, because I haven't imported any fonts, sans serif, and text align center. As you can see, now when the screen is smaller, this box breaks. Now how can I avoid that? I can do one thing. When the screen gets smaller, instead of having 3 boxes in the same line, I can have 3 boxes in 3 different lines. How to do that? Simply I can just write this flex direction column, and it can be like that. And I also need to add some margin top and bottom, or just let's keep it like that. Yeah, okay. Now in a smaller screen, it's not that much hard to see it. And also maybe I also need to increase the width of my box, maybe not to 30% but to 80%. But now again, in a tablet or in a bigger screen, it's also like this. But in a bigger screen, I want it to be like 3 boxes side by side. Instead of vertically, I want them to be laid out horizontally. So now to do that, we need to use media queries. And how to do that, I'm just going to teach you that. So first, okay, so I have made the changes to previous, and I'm also removing the width because it's not applicable here, because that would mean the whole box stretching to here. So width, I just give the width to 30%. Now, okay, I'm just going to type the same thing, which is add media only screen, and then I'm just going to give brackets. I'm going to write max dash width, give colon, and I'm just going to write 375 pixels. Make sure to do one thing, never give the semicolon here, okay? It does not need a semicolon, so make sure if you give a semicolon, it will not work. Now just curly brackets, and I'm going to code inside the same thing. So let me just bring parent here. Okay, and now if the screen size is 375 pixels or less, the flex direction, it will change from row to column. So by default here, the flex direction is actually in row. But if the screen width is at 375 pixels or less than that, then the boxes pretty much will be in flex direction column, which is this. Now let's see how it is. As you can see, I'm decreasing, so let me go to okay. So now as you can see, now here is 382, but as it decreases to 375 or less, okay, now my boxes are like this. But still it's not perfect. Why? Because I need the width of these boxes to increase. So I'm just going to select this and paste it here, and I'm just going to write width 80%. No, it's just a simple guess. Now my content is perfect for a screen less than this width and a screen more than this width. Now if someone visits this demo from a mobile, he or she will see it like that. But if he or she visits it from a bigger screen like an iPad or a desktop or a laptop, he or she will see this content like this. Now this is what is responsive designing. Now responsive designing is what makes it possible to simultaneously code for both mobile and desktop viewports. I hope what I taught here about media query you guys understood. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comment section below. And that's it for today. So I hope you all are clear with this media query and what media query is about and why it is used. So see you in another video.